जहां भारत और अमेरिका के संबंधों को लेकर भारत और अमेरिका के बीच व्यापार, रक्षा, सुरक्षा संबंधी कई समझौतों के होने की संभावना दिखाई दे रही है। वहीं ये भी दिखाई दे रहा है कि यह पहली बार है कि भारत का कोई प्रधानमंत्री दूसरी बार अमेरिका के दोनों सदनों को संबोधित कर रहा हो। इस बार भारत के प्रधानमंत्री आए हैं राजकीय यात्रा पर, न्यूयॉर्क होते हुए वो वॉशिंगटन जाएंगे और बात हो रही है भारत के विश्व में बढ़ते हुए प्रभाव की। किस अप्रोच को लेकर भारत विकास की इस यात्रा को आगे बढ़ा रहा है, उस पर केंद्रित एक विशेष विमर्श पिछले दिनों एशिया सोसाइटी द्वारा प्रथम के सहयोग से आयोजित किया गया था, जिसका नियामन किया अरविंद सेंगर ने। इसमें वित्त विशेषज्ञ अरविंद पनगारिया जी के अलावा चिकित्सा के क्षेत्र में जाने माने डॉक्टर नरेश त्रेहन और इंटेल भारत की अध्यक्ष निवृत्ति भी सम्मिलित हुए। कुछ नई सी बातें, नए दृष्टिकोण के साथ भारत के भविष्य की संकेत करती हुई इस विमर्श से हम तक आई। एशिया सोसाइटी का आभार व्यक्त करते हुए, प्रथम का धन्यवाद करते हुए प्रस्तुत है इस विमर्श से लिया गया ये अंश।
Thank you and welcome. When we thought of this panel, when Ginny and a few of us were discussing this, one of the suggestions we had is we have a lot of nothing against Wall Street types or economists sitting in the U.S., which is what Arvind and Subramaniam and I qualify as, but we wanted people from India who are in the trenches. Running businesses and have been there for a long time to be a part of the panel. And as it so happens, both Nivritti and Naresh Trehan have been in the US for a long time and then made the decision to go back to India and have successfully been spearheading the different businesses. So they bring a perspective which I think is going to be quite interesting. I'll start with the first question, which is kind of the genesis of this idea of doing this panel, which is, there's a lot of talk of China plus one, India's decade, manufacturing. Apple is opening a manufacturing facility. Other chip companies are coming to India, other manufacturing, but clearly the technology side is where India seems to be focusing. And Nivritti, you're obviously involved in that a lot. So maybe you can start us off by telling us about how real is this opportunity and what are the challenges in seizing this opportunity? Because as we all know, India's had a few misses along the way in terms of opportunities that have come along.
We were talking about what are the challenges. I'm really excited about India trying to build a semiconductor fab, but let me tell you the challenges. To build a semiconductor fab and a moderate size fab, and we call it a fab with two mods, two lines, it requires 150,000 people's worth of drinking water daily. Second, it requires land, which is 250 acres. And you're all aware, a soccer field is about 2 acres. So 125 soccer fields is a moderate size fab. Lastly, it requires about 350 megawatt of power, which translates into 350,000 homes powered up in US and 1 million homes powered in India. So these are the challenges. Having highlighted the challenges, and I have played a critical role in making sure that the government understands fab is not just fab itself, it requires the whole ecosystem. So in terms of power, there's a lot of focus on clean energy, renewable energy. So far, fossil fuels are 50-60% of India's power generation. But India is looking at 20-30% renewable, going to 2040, 50% renewable. So that's the plan India is working on. In terms of water, a brand new ministry established. How can we enable water? And then in terms of land, there's a lot of incentives state government and central government are trying to put. So our journey for India is going to be crawl, walk, run. And very recently, when Gina Raimondo and Piyush Goyal signed an MOU, we were put together to talk about what are the strengths of India, plus also not forget what are the challenges India is facing. So we are coming up with solutions which incorporate both these and look at India to power the world.
You will service the Ayushman patients.
Correct.
Now, Ayushman patients, the two very critical parts of that is what are the rates at which you have to deliver the service and whether the payment schedule is actually adhered to. Because today they say within 15 days, 70% of your payment should come, and within 3 months you should get the full processing. So if the government can actually accomplish that, I think a very bright future for Health India, not in the immediate sort of future, you can't say 2-3 years, but I think another 5 to 7 years we could actually achieve or get much closer to the goal.
Great, thank you.
Because I'll just add, because the two most critical elements here are that the Indian doctors are actually very good when they're given the right environment to work in. So that element is there, and the nursing services, if they are properly trained, they perform as well as anybody in the world. So that's the baseline, and I think we can build on it in times to come.
Digital is very powerful, very attractive. IT, excellent. It's going to transform welfare, how consumers perceive things, what they benefit. But you have to remember that the IT sector and all these things account for 2 to 3% of the labor force. So if you want to create jobs in India, it cannot be by digital alone. And and if you look at the Indian labor market today, it's a bit worrying. Unemployment rates have come down, unemployment is going up. There's still a lot of informality. So I think we need to crack the providing employment for lots of people, and digital, wonderful as it is in its effects, cannot provide that broad-based prosperity which India needs. So I think, I've gone on, sorry, just to summarize, great domestic opportunities, great geopolitical external opportunities, but to convert them, we have to be mindful about the 3 caveats. We cannot turn inward in terms of policy. State power and politics cannot be arbitrary, cannot be majoritarian, must be inclusive, must bring everyone along. And finally, we need to create employment for millions and millions of people, which digital on its own will not be able to.
Things are changing, and I'll give you my Intel example. So firstly, Intel, I am the country president for Intel in India, and we have more than 30,000 employees, engineering employees, which is just next to US. Second thing is the supply chain diversification, either with geopolitics or in general also diversifying such that you're not held hostage to one country, is happening. I'll give you one example. In a laptop, there is something called Wi-Fi module that enables you to connect to your Wi-Fi. That Wi-Fi module for Intel, what we did is we leveraged a company in Haryana, a really small company, and we built some pilot parts. We came and tested in Folsom. The parts were amazing. They were so amazing and such good cost that Intel decided to move 15% of their Wi-Fi module to this one little company, and 15% is many more millions per month that we are building. Second thing is, I talked about Tata acquiring Wistron and Reliance acquiring Sanmina. We have, as Intel, leveraged these companies to build, and also local companies, to build printed circuit boards. So Intel is also looking at leveraging India for manufacturing. The challenge that Arvind talked about, I agree, is the scale. I'm moving 10%, 15% of these building blocks to India. Can I move 85%? No, it's going to be a crawl, walk, run journey, but the change has begun. A small company, since this is not going to be published outside, I can tell you it's a company based in Haryana that we are using, and it's doing amazing. But only 10% is what I am moving, but I do want to see other companies, coming up.